Well, good evening, everybody. It is Chad from Colorado Giants. I'm here sitting on one of my walking boards on my keister, and I'm burying some vines. It's time for your Tuesday update, and I'll show you what we got going on. Okay, so as I just mentioned, I am definitely sitting on my butt. See, I have a fan pointed at me, so even though it's about, I don't know, 82 degrees in here or so, it's quite nice with this little breeze that I have. And I am burying vines, so I'll give you a status update on what we got going on. But first, a little what's up with vine burying. Super simple. Make sure you do it because, like when I move my walking board, check out those roots. Oops, my finger's in the way. Check out these roots that were underneath this walking board right here. Let me zoom out. There we go. So zoom out. That 2x4 was right there, and these are all roots from the pumpkin plant. So it's very important to bury your vines so you encourage that root growth, because that root right there, you can even see other roots. You point them out. There we go. So see, like that's a root just popping out of the ground. There's a root popping out of the ground. That right there's a root popping out of the ground. And those roots are probably coming from this leaf node right here, this junction. So really important to bury those vines so that you encourage that root growth. So a lot of people have been asking, what do I do for vine burying? Super simple. So you take your mycorrhiza. All this is available from Ron Wallace Wow. And then I just will sprinkle some right there at each leaf node. Well, sorry, I'm skipping a step here. First, you need to pinch off your tertiary vine. So off of your secondary vines, you have a tertiary vine. There's one at a little bit of a better angle. So secondary vine right here. This is your tertiary vine. Pinch that off. Don't want it. Don't need it. And then I stake my vines down so that they're going the direction and the pattern that I want, nice and evenly spaced. And then I lay down some mycorrhiza. And then after the mycorrhiza, I will do some azos. There you go. And that's all you do. After that, I bury the vine with some dirt, mound it up kind of nice like you see right there. Now on these ones, make sure you get dirt inside here so it's totally in the dark, and that will encourage the root to fire off. But that's it. This this is the 2118 barren plant. It's finally kind of kicking its butt in gear a little bit, so I'm happy with the growth that I'm seeing. I think next week we'll see a very large improvement on this plant. So I'm going to finish burying the vines. Once I'm done with that, I'll give you the rundown of the patch as a whole. So stick around. So in case I didn't mention it before, today is Tuesday, June 23rd. And yeah, so the weather this week has been rather mild, mid-80s or so. Lows are in the upper 40s, 50s. So at night I am turning off the wet wall. I'm letting it kind of get warm before probably 6 o'clock or so. That shuts off, and then hopefully all the heat that I absorb during that time keeps it warmer in here longer, because I do not have active heating. So 2118 barren plants looking really good. I'm starting to take off, like I said before. I really think and hope, fingers crossed, that this plant will really kind of rock and roll next week. The drip tape is almost complete. This one is at 18-inch spacing, which I felt like it was getting dry in between the areas that were, in between the drip tapes. So this one, I closed them up to 12. So this one up front or in back, and that one up front are at 12 inches of spacing. My fix for the sag has worked pretty well. There's still a little bit of leak, but that's more so the caulking between the segments. That's kind of given way since everything was so sagged before. So it'll work. 1911 Urana. This one's doing pretty good, starting to take off. I mean, both of these plants. I mean, all these plants really. The 1918 has 1894. has taken off. I'd say that one is a week ahead of these two plants. This is another one. Come next week, I really think that this one will look a whole lot different. I did make a boo-boo on this one, yeah. So that last secondary vine up there, I missed it. And that secondary vine was trying to cross over the plant. So I'm trying to reel it back and get it so it's about there. Instead it was going that way. So oops, pay attention to your secondary vines. Everything is buried. This is a rear runner vine right here. So this is a vine that comes off the stump of the plant, and I'm training that to go down this way. And I might just send this one all the way down because that'll be at the end of this plant. So why not? I'll save the best for last. Although this 1501 I am pretty darn impressed with. This plant has the most triangular pattern of them. So, you know, if a secondary, or if the plant is the engine, the secondary vines are like the pistons. So you really want to make sure that, you know, you have your secondary vines rocking and rolling as much as possible, because those are really important. Additionally, this plant has a lot of roots. Maybe if I move this, none right there, but probably some back there. When I was burying vines like 5 days ago, there was already roots in this area. So that's pretty impressive. And though that plant was kind of just do-daddling along, it's really turning on the gas now. In the last week, I got this all done. So I do have a video coming out on this eventually where I explain it in general, or in detail. But in general, these two have valves. There's two valves up here, so I can mix this. I was just mixing this tank right here. So this is just water. This is my fertilizer mixture for evenings. I'll turn this on. I'll turn this off. And turn the pump on. So now I am watering all the plants. The Bushel Gourd, I just got done burying some vines on the Bushel Gourd. That's the last one I haven't buried vines on yet this evening. And the 1894 Urana. This is the one with the most impressive growth this week. Make sure you like the Facebook page at Colorado Giants to see, because I stand basically right here every Tuesday and I take a picture. And like last Tuesday, it looked like one of those plants. And now, you know, we're pretty substantial. I think I'm going to get 20 foot. I forget the distance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 foot wide, and they're going to be like 30 foot long. So I'm almost to the point. Next week, I'll definitely have some vines terminated. So I'm probably at, you know, I'd say 14 foot wide, and it's at least that long. So it's looking real good. This is the plant that did have these wacky secondary vines that, you know, they were growing. There's a better shot. It had a flower attached to it, and it was like a stump of a vine. I don't know what was going on right there, but I'm working on getting those corrected. And then the vines past that, you know, like that looks like a normal secondary vine right there, and that's a normal vine. And then when I was fiddling with those weird vines, I broke that one off. Oops. So then I'm going to train that one back a little bit. There's a pumpkin on this one right here somewhere, or here. I buried it. I don't want that pumpkin to grow. Don't be afraid to bury these. Oh, here's the pumpkin. Don't be afraid to bury like your secondary vines in your flowers. They'll pop back out, but I mean, just don't go crazy with it. Yeah, so this plant's probably another 2 weeks. I'm thinking first or second week of July. Hopefully I'll have a pumpkin out here-ish is my goal. And I haven't looked in the tip, and I won't quite yet because I got time. Lots of people are pollinated already, but I still got time. Not worried about it. All I really need to do is find some free time to connect the rest of the soaker lines. And I think that's probably about it. Talked about vine burying. That 100 gallons is We're already 20 gallons down, so I'll water 100 gallons. I've been doing that, once a day. I'll water something. I take the recommendations. If it's once a week, I knock it in half, and I do it twice a week typically, and I'll rotate it between the myriad of things that I use. I'm doing a lot of foliar feeding this year. I think that's something that is important that I really haven't had time to do in the past. And in between waterings, I'm utilizing my convenient hoses to, make sure that all of my vine bearing stays moist. So if that stays moist, then that root is going to fire off, and it's going to make more roots, and more roots equals bigger plants equals bigger pumpkins, etc., etc., etc. So you can see here that this valve right there is turned off, and I probably need to turn that on because I usually go one line ahead of the plant, and then at least twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening time, I'll come out here and I just soak the entire area. I'll probably spend 10 minutes watering each plant or so, just making sure that the surface is nice and moist, so that I am, especially with these ones, getting in between the soaker line really well to make sure that nothing is missed. But that's it for this week. Quick update. The plants are looking real good. I'm quite happy. Other than being late, I have no reason to complain. Nothing to complain about. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, hit the bell, all that jazz. If you have questions, I typically do answer questions. It might take me a week or so to get around to them, but I'll answer them eventually, I promise. So if you have questions, go ahead, comment below. Happy to help out. Have a good one, guys.